No such charm offensives for the Australians. China is breathing fire. It's in the mood for a fight and it has launched a trade war. The China-Australia relationship is on the verge of breakdown. The reason? The call for an investigation. Remember, Australia was the first to demand an international probe. It ended up getting the support of 100 countries. Despite China's threats, the world is backing Australia's calls. This is a diplomatic success, and Australia is taking a victory lap, was taking a victory lap yesterday.
Did in no way ask for confrontation. It was an investigation that we asked for. And I think the world last night accepted that view. This wasn't about persecution. This was about understanding of a pandemic that 300,000 souls lost their lives to. That is a responsible thing to do as a good global citizen. The fact that Australia led the way and asked for that review to take place, we should be damn proud as a nation that we led the world, not only on understanding what the WHO has done, but understanding what wildlife wet markets' role is in these pandemics.
Australia's move and words did not go down well with the wolf warriors. The Chinese embassy threw diplomacy out of the window, took off the gloves and started a fist fight. They said Australia's claims of vindication are nothing but a joke. This was from the embassy in Canberra. Then Beijing swung into action, slapping Australia with punitive tariffs. Sample this. China has imposed an 80% tax, 80% tax on barley imports from Australia. And this is massive. This will cost Australian farmers hundreds of millions of dollars. China was their most lucrative market. The barley from Australia was used to make beer in China. In 2018, Australia sold barley worth $1.5 billion to China. Now those sales are bound to fall. This is being called a new trade war. Australia says it will take this case to the World Trade Organization.
Australia is deeply disappointed by the decision of China to impose duties on Australian barley exports into China. This decision, we believe, is one that is not based on either good analysis of facts or law, and we will reserve and do reserve all our rights in terms of how we appeal this decision, how we continue to fight to defend the integrity of our farmers and our barley exporting industry.
Tariffs are just one part of China's offensive. The second is the use of state media, spinning the story in China's favor. The Global Times ran this piece today. It says, and I'm quoting, Australia gets slapped to the face as global community welcomes China-sponsored resolution on COVID-19. This is unbelievable. When did it become a China-sponsored resolution? Until the last minute, China was saying that a probe right now would be premature, and now it's a China-sponsored resolution. This is an incredible lie, even by Chinese standards. And this is the lie that they're selling at home, that Beijing asked for a probe. Meanwhile, China's wolf warrior-in-chief is telling Australia to, quote-unquote, completely abandon political manipulation.
We advise the Australian side to read the original text carefully and not take conclusions for granted. Finally, I want to emphasize that we welcome the Australian side, in accordance with the relevant resolutions of the World Health Assembly, change its course, completely abandon political manipulation, and return to the general consensus of the international community.
This doesn't end here. China plans to escalate this. Reports say China is considering targeting more Australian exports. On the radar are these items: wine, dairy, seafood, oatmeal and fruit. These could be subjected to stricter quality checks, anti-dumping probes, tariffs or custom delays. Meanwhile, China's own finances are hit with a mounting case of bad loans. China doled out billions to smaller countries to gain access. Now they're hit by the Wuhan virus and they cannot pay back. Pakistan, Kyrgyzstan, Sri Lanka, a number of countries in Africa, they all want to restructure their debt with China. They're in no position to pay. And we are talking about loans to the tune of $500 billion. $500 billion. Mostly linked to Xi Jinping's ambitious Belt and Road Initiative. This makes China the world's biggest lender, bigger than the World Bank, bigger than the International Monetary Fund. The gamble has failed. If China refuses the request of these smaller countries, they will go bankrupt. The money will not come back anyway. If China agrees to their request, China's own banks will collapse. It's a catch-22 situation. In such circumstances, another trade war with Australia is not just ill-timed, but it will be counterproductive.